you when China first came annexed it, they did it because they were in serious need of money?
If China was in serious need of money? I'm sure, yes, because history tends to repeat itself, and I think China was seeing what the Soviet Union was doing and how they were going along, and I'm sure maybe Mao didn't like that idea. Maybe he wanted a little different change, and he knew the U.S. could offer them a lot of support, a lot of help, a lot of knowledge of how to maybe become a superpower. Yes.
I understand that every panda, even if they have been bred and born in this country, all are Chinese, and they all belong to China.
Really?
And that everyone here, we rent them.
I know they're
Right.
they're endangered species, so
Right.
so there's not many of them.
Right.
Yeah, I can remember, some of us are old enough to recall when you were not able to own anything made in China, made in Red China. It was forbidden to purchase anything or use anything made in Red China. It was back in the 60s, as a matter of fact. How things have changed.
Yeah. When you can go Walmart.
I would just note, when I was a little younger than you, I had the opportunity to be on a TV program and talked about Russian-Chinese policy, our policy towards them, which treated them as a monolith, and I thought that was absolutely stupid because we should have been playing one against the other. But that was a totally unacceptable thought, and I had a grade in high school changed, lowered, and I was told that I would not get more than a C for that semester, despite the fact that I had an A before. Another point is that 20 years ago I was able to be a consultant in Russia and Ukraine, and one big dinner we had in Russia, I told a story about when my father was in a meeting with Joe Stalin at Potsdam, and when I mentioned Stalin to that group, the silence was just desperate. They did not allow a mention of Stalin, and this was just 20 years ago. It was just unheard of to even mention Stalin. What's your experience in terms of the Russian community and Stalin?
I get a lot of different reactions on that. Me as being born in Russia, but I didn't really live there. I didn't really experience it. My parents, we actually came here in 1994. A big reason was that because of what was going on in the Soviet Union. Just at the time of the collapse, I was born in 91, so that was the height. My parents didn't want, I was actually born in Moscow, to kind of give you where I'm from. So there's a lot of turmoil going on within the city, and so me being as the only child, my parents left. But here, I interact with the Russian community a lot, with the Ukrainian, with the Moldovan, with the Slavic countries of Europe, and within us, we get along just well. Even in the U.S., when we interact with that, I know our church, we do a lot of visits to the nursing home, to different places, and when we say that we're a Russian church, people are actually happy, the older communities, and I haven't really gotten much, I don't know how to say this, much, bad talk to me about me being Russian in the U.S. I know a lot of different people have their own different views, and it's been 20 some years, and I'm sure the U.S. kind of is starting to forget about what it was like back 30 years ago when the Soviet Union was at its height. Yes.
Well, I just like to thank you and all of the students for coming here today, but also to congratulate you on choosing public speaking as a skill to develop.
Right.
In this area of texting and the internet and things like that, that public speaking remains the place that if you're a passionate person to share and spread your passion, whether it be about water or how to improve and bring events to the community or promote international understanding. And so I think that it marks you as having the potential to lead and have influential lives as you go forward and complete your education. And I learned sort of that when you make a speech, it's not like an assignment where you do it and then it's done. That the same speech or the same themes in speeches, if you're passionate about them, will have to keep coming up and being refined, and you'll get at them, and experience for you every time you do it, as well as for the folks that you communicate with. And so I really do appreciate the fact of getting to have met all of these things.
Yeah.
I guess I'm going to call this a teaching moment. Just to share with you, Vitaly brings to you an example of what's happened at Clover Park Technical College, at Bates Technical College, Pierce, and Tacoma. Here in Pierce County, the number of international students that have come to our campus. That's why I asked Vanessa how many she'd had the opportunity to interact with. We have 25 students from the People's Republic of China in our aviation program right now. These folks are not going to stay here. They're paying 5 times more than our local students pay, and they're going back to China to be able to service Boeing aircraft. My experience with those individuals is not unlike what you've just experienced with Vitaly. They are bright, articulate, and eager to learn in our country. They're great examples. I talk to the aviation students out there to ask them about their Chinese student colleagues, and they are wonderful in the classroom. They stimulate the conversation. They teach people about other cultures and other people of the world. And I just have to reflect just a minute. My age clearly indicates that I grew up and was in the military when China and Russia were extraordinary adversaries. You know, we had this great fear and constant worry. And what a wonderful change has come about. We've met people like you, and your interaction with our students at the college has been wonderful. And I'm so grateful you're here.